Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. Welcome to our Unlocking Research Excellence webinar. This is our second one today, so it's lovely to be joined by even more people this afternoon. I'm pleased to welcome Cristina Ashby today, who is our Head of Researcher Experience here in our Wallingford office in the UK. Cristina will be taking you through the CABI Digital Library and showing you how to enhance your search experience. A few house rules before we begin. If I could please ask you to keep your cameras off and remain on mute for the webinar. There will be time at the end for questions, so please do use the Q&A button, which you'll find at the bottom of your screen, to ask a question. And without further ado, I shall pass over to Cristina. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Kelly. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our webinar. And first of all, I'm going to just give a brief background about CABI and our databases, and then I'll try and spend the larger portion of the webinar on search and how it works and searching on our databases on the CDL. And all of the slides from this webinar will be made available to you along with the actionable links that I'll be using for the webinar. So first of all, CABI, we're a not-for-profit intergovernmental organization established by a UN treaty. We're owned by 48 member countries that all have an equal role in our governance and our policies and strategic direction. And they range from Afghanistan to Zimbabwe, so many countries across the world, including the UK, Canada, Kenya, India, Pakistan, lots of different countries. Okay, so we have global reach with offices in more than 25 locations worldwide, and 450 or more than 450 staff right now, about half of whom are scientists. And we address issues of global concern like food security and food safety through research and international development. We're also a major publisher of scientific information, of databases, books, ebooks, digital learning, our compendia, and other kinds of online information resources. So our areas of expertise focus around crop health, development and communication for extension workers, digital development, invasive species, and value chains, and all kind of focused around trying to help smallholder farmers with science-based knowledge about crop health to grow more and lose less of their crops, and so that they can improve their incomes and their livelihoods across the world. So our publishing products, as I said, range from our databases to our online collections like VetMed Resource, Environmental Impact, across a number of topics. Collections consist of database as well as primary content that we publish. The CABI Compendium, which has 12 channels now, including 4 on commodities, 4 commodity channels. We have a growing range of journals, a portfolio of 5, which is growing. Our CABI cases, CABI books. We have over 2,000 books to date that we've published, and various kinds of open access decision support tools like the Horizon scanning tool, the pest risk analysis tool, and a new invasive species discovery tool, and also things like Search Archive and more recently Protocol Archive that we've just beta launched earlier this year. So those are all open access. Our databases span over 16 million records and covering subject areas across agriculture, human health, and global health, and the applied life sciences like veterinary sciences, for example. We cover research from over 120 countries in 50 languages. And we index articles from over 8,000 serials around the world. We also index grey literature and full text content, which is only hosted by us. A lot of this is things like conference proceedings and government document information. And some of it comes from our member countries. So we make a concerted effort to work with our member countries to include grey literature. So again, this is unique content that's only available to us. We also, all of the content is vetted by our editors and subject experts, subject to a very rigorous selection to maintain quality. And of course, everything in the database is indexed with our controlled vocabulary, again, by our subject experts and our content editors here. Okay, so this is just an overview of CAB abstracts and global health. So CAB abstracts is roughly over 12.4 million records. Of these, close to 900,000 are hosted full text. That's only available from us. There's close to 1 million grey literature articles, and over 132,000 are evidence-based research articles. And global health is smaller. It's now close to around 5 million records. There is also hosted full text, over 243,000 items, grey literature, 92,000 items, and evidence-based research articles, over 155,000 articles. And the geographic coverage of the database as a whole ranges from North America at 17%, Central America, Central and South America, I should say, 9%, Europe, 26%, Africa, 11%, Asia, 33%, and Australia and New Zealand at 5%. So journals and everything that we index is selected based on quality and subject relevance. And we follow a set of criteria to maintain the high quality and the relevance of our databases, and to identify and exclude predatory journals and journals that don't meet acceptable standards. So we look at things like the quality of the content, that it's consistent with the stated scope of the journal, and that it's of high academic quality. Their editorial policies, what kind of editorial board members they have and their academic affiliations. We try to ensure that there's a clear peer review process in place. Their publishing standards and practices like copyright. But we also try to balance that with global representation. So we give special consideration to journals that have unique or valuable content from regions that aren't well represented in the established literature. As long as they meet most of the quality editorial and publishing standards, then we base our decisions on that. Because we do have a lot of unique content that's not available anywhere else from these underrepresented regions. And for grey literature, we look at the reputation and authority of the source organization. And there's more information about our selection criteria. I'm not going to click on the link, but it will be available for you to have a look at with the slides. And these are just some of the types of publications that we abstract from the grey literature. Things like reports from the Australian Centre for International Agricultural Research, Embrapa, Slovenian Society of Agronomy, Forest Research Institute Malaysia, FAO, DEFRA here in the UK, the international partnership for microbiocides, Natural England, Medicines Formulary. So these are just some of the representative organizations whose content we index as grey literature. And so CAB Abstracts supports study, research, and practice in agriculture and applied life sciences across agriculture and crop science, animal and veterinary science, climate and environment, conservation, ecology and forestry, nutrition and food science, and leisure, hospitality, and tourism. And our profile in terms of our competitors, 44% of the titles which are in CAB Abstracts are unique to us in comparison to the Web of Science, so you won't find them there. I should say it's the Web of Science core collection. And 32% of the titles are unique to us versus Scopus. And Global Health, our other major database, supports study, research, and practice in public health and public health promotion and community well-being, healthcare practice and promotion, food, nutrition, and human health, human biology and infectious diseases, and health sciences. And our competitor profile there is 47% unique content versus PubMed, 74% unique to us versus Medline, because you would expect Medline is much more medically focused, whereas we're very public health focused. So, you know, the profile there doesn't overlap too much. And then 64% of our titles are unique to Global Health versus Embase. So in addition to making our database available through CAB Abstracts and Global Health, we also have, excuse me, a number of smaller subsets and subject collections focused around specific subject areas, ranging from hygiene and communicable diseases to weeds. Excuse me, I'm just going to have a drink. And of course, everything is brought together now on the CABI Digital Library. And so you have a single login now for access to all of our content, both subscribed as well as open access content. And we designed it we tried to design it for a very intuitive experience. So hopefully it doesn't require too much training for anyone to use the platform. So ranging from, we did a lot of UX studies with researchers, librarians, but also practitioners, and certainly a lot of students. We wanted to make it friendly for students to use. And the platform is fully accessible. It's WCAG compliant. So that's good. You don't need to worry about that when you purchase products on our platform. And we also have a lot of built-in SEO so that it's discoverable through search engines like Google, because from past experience, a lot of our traffic comes via Google. Even subscribers start their search journeys on Google. Okay, so some of the features that the platform has is, as I said, a single search across all subscribed and open content. It's possible to create very large queries, up to 64,000 characters. You can bulk export up to 100,000 citations in one go. And I think, as far as I'm aware, we're the only platform that lets you do this. There are facets for grey literature and evidence-based research, and there are personalization features to enable you to save searches and records. And the search history keeps up to 100 searches for the current session. Okay, so there are some useful links that I've provided with these slides in terms of how to access our products, our databases, our collections, and our subsets. There's also a link for our search help guide here, which is useful to have. And then also we have regular releases. So in fact, we just had one yesterday. And so we haven't updated the release notes yet, but they are updated here. So you can see what the improvements, the ongoing improvements that we're making to the platform. And we're very keen always to hear from users and to improve the platform to meet our users' needs as much as we are able to. Okay, so I'm going to do a brief demo of the platform and its main features. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to log in. It's important to create an individual user account and log in, even if you are IP recognized through your institution. So here I'm authenticated via CABI. But it's important to do that because you have access to things, to features like exporting citations and saving searches and creating search alerts, which you don't have unless you're a registered user for the platform. So I'm going to start by going to the browse navigation bar. This provides ways of accessing all of the content which is on the platform. Over here on the left is perhaps for subscribers, the most interesting set of links. There's a link for our research databases and also a link to view all products on the platform. And so we open each one of these up further, and then you can simply click and go to the products. So we try to make it as easy as possible for people to find our products. But it's not always easy when you have a lot of different kinds of content and many products on the same platform. So now I'm going to go to our research databases homepage. And you can see there are links for our two major databases here. There's further information below about our databases, some of this which I've just gone over. Over here under Browse, there are a lot of useful links. So you can also navigate to the databases from here. You can also access the CAB Abstracts archive, which is a separate product to CAB Abstracts through this link. And the same for Global Health and Global Health Archive. And the database subsets. So these are the 36 different subcomponents of the database. You can see them all here. Okay, I'm going to go to CAB Abstracts homepage. Again, there's useful information when you scroll down. There's also under Browse here, you have access to various kinds of useful information like the archive, but we also have smart searches, which are very popular with users, and these are prepared, they're search hedges essentially prepared by our content team here, based on commonly researched topics. So you can see some of these topics. I want to also show you the Global Health search hedges. So this is the Global Health homepage. Again, have a look under Browse. And if on Global Health, in addition to the smart searches, we also have these larger areas of focus, which are again prepared on search profiles. prepared by our experts. And they allow you to do further searching within, these areas, or to refine results and view records within, these certain areas of focus. But I'm going to go back, and I want to look at the smart searches. And so you can see we've got smart searches on aging, bacterial and viral diseases, cancer, etc. I'm going to go on drug resistance because that's a nice, fairly long and somewhat complicated. Well, it's the terminology. Oh, there we go. You can see I wouldn't, as a non-specialist, I wouldn't know to search for MDR or XDR. I might be able to search on, drug resistance and multi-drug resistance, but I wouldn't necessarily think of these additional terms. So this is, a very useful way for people to have to gain access to the content based on our subject expertise here at CABI. So you can see the product is shown up in here under applied filters. This link, which is only content I have access to, if you click this, it limits the search results that you can view only to abstract records that your institution subscribes to, because everything on CDL is open, and you can see truncated versions of the abstracts, even if you don't have access to them. But so if you want to eliminate that and only view content that is accessible, you would click on this link. Here we have search filters for grey literature and evidence-based research. So I'm going to click on evidence-based research. And so I've now narrowed my result set to things like systematic reviews and meta-analyses. Yeah, as you can see. And also, I wanted to show you at the bottom here, we've also begun to index individual types of evidence synthesis literature, so that you can very quickly narrow in on specific types. This is ongoing, so that's why it looks like we have only so few, because we haven't finished re-indexing all the content, but that's started now, that process has begun. So here I've limited my results to view just meta-analyses. Okay, so I'm going to close those. Okay, the author facet, oops. The author facet displays up to 100, well, all of the facets display up to 100 entries. So there's 95 more here. So this allows me to select only certain authors. I want to, if I just want to view their articles, and I can refine that, and it combines those two selections with an OR. So I can just see their articles. And a similar idea with the, publication source publication title. Again, so these are the journals and the serials where, with the most results in the results set. There's also a refine for full text and CABI hosted full text. So I should say open access full text. So this isn't necessarily hosted by us, but CABI hosted is available just from us. And then this subject area, which is based on CABI codes, which are, they're not indexing terms, they're wider topics curated again by our content team here. And it provides, it allows you to focus on sort of broader areas, like you can see here, environmental and natural sciences. I've clicked on that, and under that you can see pathogen, pest, and parasite weed management. But I can open this up further, and you can see subtopics. So I can, go as granular or as broad as I want. So if I select the pathogen topic, and I'm going to use that and add that to my search. So I'm now focusing my search on drug resistance and pathogens for animals, humans, and plants. I focused my search very quickly in this area by using the CABI code. The other useful, they're all useful, the facets, but the geographic location is, again, it opens up. So you can select to view only records about specific countries if you want to. There we go. Okay, clear that. And languages, English, Chinese, etc. This is a mistake, Chamorro. This is something that we're correcting at the moment. That should be Chinese. It's simply a mistake in the coding for the XML. And then finally, at the bottom, the year, which is the year of the original article. So if I select a year, then I'm limiting my results only to articles published in that specific year. And this is different from the publication year refine at the top, which I didn't talk about. I skipped over it, but this is actually when the information was added to the database. So by using this, you can limit to view only results added in the last year, in the last 6 months, last 3 months, etc. So that's quite granular as well. Okay, I will eliminate that. But what I wanted to show you also is I'm going to now go into my advanced search, and I can do this by, instead of clicking up here, I can use the edit search function. And the beauty of that is that it takes the search that I've just done and it allows me to add to it using 23 different fields, which we provide through the advanced search, including abstract and scroll further. Title, this is the article title here. This is the publication title. The indexing term, this is a combined field for all of our controlled vocabulary, but we also provide the individual index fields like descriptor, geographic location, identifier, and organism descriptor. So I'll talk about these more in a minute. But I'm going to choose to look at my search now, which is getting relatively long and complex. But I want to look at affiliation. So this is something that, I could enter a specific institution here or a country. I'm just going to enter a country, India. Now, for the affiliation, we capture that information exactly as it's listed in the original article. So if you're trying to, so you may try to, use different different ways of referring to your institution if you're searching for it by affiliation. You know, there may be different ways of referring to it in the published literature. So, but here I've added the affiliation for India. So I want to see publications from faculty in India. I didn't actually go over an abstract previously, but this is what the full abstract looks like. So you can see the title here and the journal title, the affiliations, the authors, and then towards below the abstract, you can see the bibliographic information like the DOI and the URL. So you can this can be used for clicking to access full text. And the indexing terms that we apply to that article at the bottom. I also, let me see if I can find. Okay, so this is what I was looking for. So this, when you see this orange button, it means that it's an item which is hosted by CABI. We also indicate when something is open access by having a free full text button next to it. So this is one which is hosted by us. From Agricultural Reviews, and the publisher there is the Agricultural Research Communication Center in India, Karnal, India. Okay. So having done my search, I can review all the searches that I've done by looking at the recent searches here. As I said, it keeps up to 100 results, or 100 searches that you've done in your current session. Here, I've got my saved searches. So I have here, I want to illustrate how the long searching feature works. But this is a relatively long search, as you can see, on food contamination. So I'm going to combine this. Oh, the light's just gone out here. I'm going to combine this search. I'm going to re-execute it and combine it with the current search that I was working on drug resistance. And I'll do that through the recent searches. And so I think this was the search before I refined it for India. And this is the saved search. And I'm going to combine them with and. So I found 104 results. So that's okay. I expected something like that. So that's good. So you can see now my combined search on all kinds of organisms related to antimicrobials and drug resistance. And if I can select all of these records, and I can export everything in my search results. Now, this is only 100 at here in this current search. However, I could export up to 100,000 results all in one go. And the way I would do that is by selecting all results. So if I didn't change this to all results, I would be simply exporting the records on the first page, on the first search results page, the selected records. So this always throws people, and I think we need to maybe improve the usability a little bit here. make it more, to make the all results the default. You need to click on all results, and then there's a variety of outputs, RIS or CSV, etc. And also the citation format. You can export either just the citation or the full abstract or citation and abstract. I'm not going to start the export now because it can take a little while. If you're doing 100,000 results, it can take up to 2 or 3 hours. So what you have to do is simply leave the tab open, and then you'll see a notification here. I think it's, yeah, you know, when your download is available from the platform, when it's been made ready for you to open. And the other thing, I'll deselect those, but I'll only select certain records and the ones that have this orange button. And I want to add them to my project. So add to project, and I've got a number of projects here. I will add them, and then that's it. That's done. And if I go to my projects now, they should hopefully be there. I didn't actually look too carefully to see which ones, but yeah, I think it was some of these records. Anyway, the important thing about the add to project is that if you add an abstract where you see this orange button, it takes the full text with it. So you have access to the full text as well. And when you create a PDF from your project listing all of your abstracts, it also provides the full PDF of the full text. So that's handy to have. And I think you can save up to 200 records in the projects area. And under saved searches allows you to save up to 100 searches. Okay, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I'm going to move on because there's a lot of other content to get through. So, but do have a look at our platform yeah. Oops. Oh, why am I muted?
You're still muted, Cristina. Let me see if I can unmute you. Bear with me a second.
Okay, can you hear me now?
We can, thanks, Cristina.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I misclicked. So
okay.
I muted myself by mistake. So I'm now going to talk about search on the CDL and how it works, and lots of tips, hopefully, that will be helpful to you. So starting with the basics, Boolean operators on the CDL must be capitalized. If you use lowercase, those are not parsed as Boolean operators. They're just parsed as search terms. So as it says here at the bottom, within quotes, any Boolean operators are treated as part of the search expression, and even without quotes there, yeah. So if you click on, if you do a search for animal and diseases, you'll get 0 results because it's looking for that exact phrase in title, and there aren't any records. But if you do a proper search for animal and disease in title, so this is effectively looking for animal in title and disease in title, then you will get lots of results. So it's really important to put those Boolean operators in caps. And the Boolean logic with advanced search. So this is something we get asked about quite a bit by people doing systematic reviews, and when they're doing, for example, title, abstract, or keyword search, or title abstract search. What we generally advise to make sure that the logic works correctly is that you do the searches that use the same operator first separately. And then if you want to combine them with an and, you combine the resulting searches using the recent searches search history, instead of having 4 different searches, title, abstract, in the advanced search dropdown. We find that this approach using the recent searches works better. So the advanced search, edit search, is fine when you're editing maybe, 1 or 2 searches, but when you get long, complicated strings, this approach is much better. So I have an example here of searches for indigenous and native populations and health inequity. So you can see that I've done a title abstract search for this first search, and then for the second search for the health inequalities. I'm not going to run through them, but the links are available here if you want to view them when you get the slides. But I just wanted to show you just the final search. So that's a fairly long title abstract search. Okay. Use quotes to specify phrases. That's fairly typical. It's not unusual. If you don't use quotes, if you just use the 2 words, then the words anywhere in the record will be found, not only when they occur next to each other. But using quotes, you'll only find the precise phrase, cultivars. So word stemming is applied by default. The CDL tries to make content as findable as possible. So words are stemmed unless double quotes are used. And this means that all derivatives of the root word are retrieved by default. So you don't need to use truncation to make sure that all of the different variants or the derivatives of the word are retrieved. So for example, this search for title or web, the word web in title. Finds records with webs, webbed, webber, webbing. So you don't need to use truncation to make sure that you get all of those. So if I scroll down a bit further, you'll start to see some of these other ones. Still, there we go, Weber. And I think there's webbing somewhere. So the search is very inclusive when you're not using quotes. And similarly, if you do a search for webbed, the stemming is stemming on the root word, which is web. So it finds all the same results as if you search for web. So again, all of these different derivatives will also be found. And as I said earlier, if you search for phrases that are not in quotes, all variants of both words will be retrieved. So crop cultivar will find crop, cultivar, crops, cultivars, cropping, crop, etc. Okay, so that's without quotes. So using double quotes enables you to match exactly the word that you're trying to find, generally. So it switches off the stemming feature and it just looks at the precise word that you want to find. So you can switch off plurals and other derivatives, and you can look for other adjective derivatives of the word. So you can look for the plural webs, but not web, for example. So this is all webs. Similarly, you can look for webbed and not web. There we go. And sometimes it's very useful. For example, if you're looking for the plural of a word like zoos, but maybe not zoo. So if you're looking at information about zoos, but not zoo animals. Yeah, you can compare this title, zoonosis, not zoonotic, to zoonotic without quotes, which finds everything, but this only finds zoonosis. So you can, have pretty good control over the search, the words that you're searching for. Okay. Right. So the kind of exception to the control part that I was just saying is when you have spelling variants. So when you have American, British spelling, Canadian, etc., spelling variants. And the CDL uses something called the VARCON, or Variant Conversion Info Lexicon. And it's applied by default across all of the text fields, regardless of whether or not quotes are used when you're searching. So either with or without quotes, you'll still find both variants of the word. So if you search for color, the American spelling, you'll find the same results as if you're searching for color in quotes with the British spelling. So that gives you that number of results. And then when I search for the British variant, also finds the same number of results. And similarly, but what you can specify between the noun and the adjective. So you can still use quotes to do that. So you can distinguish between color and not colored, or the British color with a U, and not colored again with a U. So you do have some degree of control there, even if you can't completely switch off the language variants. Okay, so truncation, which is the opposite of using quotes. You can use an asterisk for truncating a word to find any numbers of characters. So you can find any derivatives of a word using truncation, I should say, derivatives of the root word. Respire finds respiration, respiratory, respire, respiring, etc. Woman finds woman and women. But if you put the asterisk at the beginning, that doesn't work. That returns no results. So you can't use it at the beginning of the word, only in the middle or at the end of a word. You can also use a question mark to match just a single character. So if you have 2000 with a question mark at the end, you find any years between 2000 and 2009. So that's useful, but it only matches one character. So truncation disables stemming, as I was saying, and spelling variants, and only derivatives of the specified trunk of the word will be found. So this is important when it comes to the spelling variants that I was talking about earlier, because, for example, here, I've got the American spelling of pediatric. And so when I truncate this, it only finds results where the American spelling is used, like pediatric, pediatrics, pediatricians, but it's with the E in the spelling here. And it won't find results with a British variance where an A is used, PAE, pediatric, pediatrics, pediatricians, etc. So to find variants of both spellings, you would need to use truncation after the P and at the end of the word. And if you used an asterisk, you would find both the British and American variants. If you used a question mark, this is only looking for one character after the P. And so it would only find the American variants, PE, rather than PAE. So you can see this. So this is only found all American spellings, whereas this finds both American and British spellings. Pediatric. There we go. Pediatric with the British spelling, etc. Not surprisingly, there's more American articles that use American spellings than British spellings. Not surprising. Okay. So one of the biggies about our platform that you need to keep in mind is that you cannot use truncation within quotes. So you can't use wildcards within quotes. And I know this is different from lots of other platforms, but that's the way this the Atipon search engine works. And we can't unfortunately change that. we did discuss this at length with them, but it's not possible to change it. So if you use truncation within quotes, the wildcard is completely disregarded, or sometimes it returns 0 results. So it's not reliable. So you don't use that. But again, remember that rather, at least for single words, when you don't use quotes, you automatically get all spelling and grammatical variants by the CDL. So you perhaps don't need to use as much truncation as you might on other platforms. For phrases, it gets a little bit tricky. And but you could try using the truncated words in the phrase in brackets, at least to try and search them together first. So this finds variants such as pediatric emergency, pediatric emergencies. You can see here. So you should still be able to find lots of useful entries. But of course, you'll also find just the single words that occur, like just pediatrics without the word emergency, because you're not using quotes to say that's a phrase. So you can also sort your results by relevance. So that sometimes helps with this issue, because you can view the more relevant results towards the top of your search results. So you could do that. That can be useful. Okay, now if you want, a much greater degree of accuracy, the only thing you can do is spell out the potential phrase variants and enclosing each one in quotes, combined with an or in between. So this finds 722 results, as opposed to this more general search here. Okay. For proximity, use quotation marks around the terms you wish to specify for the proximity search, followed by a tilde, and then a number indicating the maximum number of words separating the terms. So natural forests will find any records where those two occur next to each other within one word. You can include more than 2 words in a proximity search. So here, this is searching for 4 words, natural forest, Brazil, within 4 words of each other. And so there we go. But anything that you place in proximity is searched precisely, because you're using quotes. So this search, for example, will not find natural forest about the Amazon Brazilian forest, for example. This will give a different set of results. So keep that in mind as well. So the words are searched precisely. Okay. You can search all of the fields that we use for indexing with their 2-letter field abbreviations. These are given in our help file. There's 3 super fields: the title, the authors, and the indexing term. And the title field is a combined field that allows you to search across the article title. There's something that we call additional title, and conference titles that we index separately. You can also search for these individually. Something to bear in mind if you're just searching the ET field, the article title, is that this field includes both the English language title, but if the article was in another language, it also includes the original language title. So it's all in the same field. And sometimes, so when you're actually searching, the search is searching across both the English as well as the non-English information. The English information is parsed according to the normal search rules, but the non-English information is simply retrieved by a straight character match. So, for example, if you search for article title fetus, spelled F-O-E-T-U-S, you'll find this is one of the English articles, English title articles that you retrieve, and you don't see the word fetus anywhere in that title. However, the original title is in French, and it shows fetus, so the search has retrieved that record due to that, because it's looking across that information as in one field. Okay. Oh, just to say that when you're searching for journal titles, you need to match the journal title precisely. It's phrase indexed. So if you want the Journal of Dairy Science and you're looking in the DO field and using that abbreviation, you need to include it in quotes and spell it out exactly. If you just, for example, search for dairy science, it'll find a completely different set of records from another publication, not from the Journal of Dairy Science. So that has to be matched precisely. Author fields, the super author field includes authors, document editors, and corporate authors. So, and you can search across all three by searching the author field, or you can search them individually. You can search for corporate authors like WHO, for example. And the thing about the author searches is that because author names can vary widely across different publications, so just the practice of different journals differs for the same author. I'm sure this is a problem that everyone's familiar with. But to make it easy to find authors, CDL uses a special fuzzy search to maximize the number of name variants that you retrieve. So what we advise is that you always put the names that you're looking for in quotes, and that restricts it to looking for a single individual, a single author, where those names occur. If you don't use quotes, then it looks for the names individually. So it can bring back, irrelevant results. So yeah, always put quotes around author names. And also the author refined facets on the search results page can also help you to focus in on the correct author names. So our controlled vocabulary, the indexing terms that we use include organism descriptors, identifiers, broad terms, geographic locations. And when you're using these terms, you're focusing the search to the most relevant papers related to your topic, which is specifically indexed by us. So they're not simply papers that happen to mention the words and not really be about those topics. So you really focus your search by using the CABI controlled vocabulary. And the thing to keep in mind about the controlled vocabulary is that, especially for the descriptors, we tend to use the British variants of terms. So here, for example, we use lucerne instead of alfalfa. But whenever we use a British variant in the DE field, we always provide the complementary term, the US variant, or variant terms in the identifier field. So the identifier field captures new concepts or organisms which aren't yet in our controlled vocabulary due to the terminology that's still developing. So we don't put it in the descriptors yet. We're still waiting to see what's happening with the terminology. Or alternatively, we could use it to identify older terms or concepts which may have dropped out of use and been replaced by more current descriptors. So, but we do provide them all in the identifier just to try and make it as easy as possible to find the relevant information. So here, this is the official controlled term, but that will bring back the same number of results as if you search for BSE, because these terms are included in the identifier field. So if I search for BSE, I should get, so 4149, so I should get the same number of results as if I search for the longer. There we go. And the same with mad cow disease. So, and this is important because when you're doing a search without specifying fields, when you're doing a search across all fields, that searches across all of the index fields that we apply to the information, you don't need to worry about using the correct version. You'll automatically find the information because we try and anticipate the different ways that people might want to look for that information. So organism descriptors are usually plurals, cats, birds, etc. The geographic location, GL, is always refers to the location where the research took place, which very often is not where the article is published, but it's where the research is about. The broad term is a term which exists above taxonomic term in the hierarchy. So the best example is something like Southern Europe, for example, or Europe. So by searching for Southern Europe, you will find all the records about all the individual countries in that area. And you can look these terms up in our thesaurus, which I'll also show you in a minute. So yeah, when you're searching the combined indexing term, that works. The search for that works in the same way as all of the other text fields. So it's very forgiving. You can use stemming and truncation, etc. And no matter which variant you use, you'll always find the right results. So always by searching the combined indexing term field, you don't need to know, if the term uses the plural or the singular or the American or British variant. So you'll usually find results. But if you're limiting searches to the individual indexing fields like descriptor, identifier, etc., then those are matched precisely. So when you search in the descriptor field, if you search for the American variant, you will not find any results. It brings back 0 results because the term we use is the British spelling. And the same with things like terminology. So alfalfa, for example, which is the US variant, that doesn't find any results. But if you search for Lucerne, you will bring back close to 80,000 results. But again, for both of these examples, when you're searching across all fields, the complementarity of us providing the alternative use, the alternative terms in the ID and DE fields usually takes care of that issue. So, and CABI codes are broader concepts used to describe subjects that you couldn't describe easily with keywords. You can browse them all. There's over 200, and you can browse them here in our help file. And the way you search them is by using the number and, whoops, it hasn't worked. Okay, good. Oh, I've got 2, that's why it's not working. Sorry. I think I've got too many browser windows open. So here are the CABI codes, and you can browse them all. So you can choose the one that you want to search on. And you can enter simply the code number, or you can use the prefix CABI code, CC, in front to find the information. So the CABI thesaurus allows you to look up our controlled vocabulary, but not the CABI codes. And you can use it to broaden searches or to narrow searches, and anytime you want to improve and make your searches more targeted. And the CABI thesaurus is available from not just from this page, but it's also available in the actual interface of the CDL. So you can see here, thesaurus, you can click and view our thesaurus in your, on this page, on the search results page. But there's two versions. So there's a very old version that we launched as long ago, it's 2010, and that's still going. But we are now working on a much more user-friendly version, the beta version, which is the one I'm going to show you now. So I'm going to do a search for bumblebee species. So I think it's bombus. So bumblebees are used for commercial pollination. So hopefully, this is sometimes a little bit slow because it's still a beta. So apologies about that. But when I find the term, come on. Oh, it's not, okay, there we go. So I can view the term and I can see the term above it, also the narrower terms, which are covered by that species. Other information about the taxonomic background of the term. If I click on view all here, I can see all the narrower terms included under the main term, and I can select them all by simply clicking on this little plus sign, and I can add them all to my search. So that's a very easy way to save a lot of typing of, you know, complicated words. And I've added them to my concepts here. And then I can use that and I can edit the search and I can build a more complicated or a more complex search. So here I'm going to add descriptor DE climate change. Okay, and then I'm going to run the search query. And so that sends the query into the CDL. And then, you know, I can go from there and use all of the refine features on it. I can edit it further and add additional terms, etc. To do that. So as I said, the thesaurus is currently beta, but it is usable, except that it's a little bit slow. We're still making some UX improvements to it, but we hope that our users will find it useful. Okay, and I've provided some slides about it here in my presentation. And finally, and that's it. I'm sorry we've gone over time, so it doesn't leave a lot of time for questions, but I'll be very happy to handle questions if there are any.
Thank you, Cristina, and thank you for taking us through a really thorough search on CABI Digital Library. If there are any questions, we have a couple of moments now. If not, then Cristina has provided some information on how you can get in contact with us should you have any queries once the webinar has finished. I will just say that we will be sending through the slides from today and the recording as well, and links to our help files and our FAQs as well. So you will get all of those after the conference. One question we did have that might be of interest to everyone is how do we index at CABI? Is it at article or journal level? Perhaps you can enlighten us.
It's always at article level. Yeah, we index at article level. We index books at book level and chapter level, but for journals, we don't provide an abstract at the journal level. We only index at the individual article level.
Thank you, Cristina. I guess it's now 17 minutes past. So I'm sure lots of you have things that you need to be moving on with. So I just wanted to say a big thank you to everyone who's joined us today. And we will send all of the recording and slides and everything to you after this session. And also a big thank you to Cristina for her insights today and taking us through CABI Digital Library. So enjoy the rest of your days, everyone. And thank you very much for joining us.